do, so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move, so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious, mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Alright, I don't know if anyone's watching, but either way, good evening everyone. I'm Chief Justice Álvaro Serrano Castro, a very Spanish judge here at Aspen. We're going to be performing an interview today, and I'm currently just waiting on the applicant to arrive. I don't know if he may already be at the door, so I'm going to go and check. I don't think he's currently here. So we're gonna go ahead and wait. Alright. Well, let's go ahead and just give you a little tour of the city hall. This is gonna be the city hall, as you can see right here. Alright. Let's just go ahead and give you a little tour. So upon entrance you have our clerk over here / reception, who will provide you with your ID. Later on, once we have in-city licenses and that they are issued by LEO, they are gonna be right here as well. So if you want the printed copy in your pockets, then you can just third eye them and get it, right? But for now, we don't have actual licenses. The guidelines are set in place by the DOJ. We just have a little functional vending machine here in case you're, if you're out of food, you have drinks as well, right? And then if you go upstairs, you can have a look at what is going to be more of the administrative section. So like for quote-unquote government, mayoral, etc. This is going to be just an office, right? Not really something special. Another office, this is going to be the mayor's office, right? Again, not something really special. Then right here is going to be a meeting room. So like, let's say we're going to have department heads meeting to discuss an issue. Let's say we want to establish an additional department of dispatch. Then we're going to have like all Leo heads here, you know, DOJ if needed, you know, EMS, stuff like that, right? There was a voting booth somewhere here. I don't know where it is. Let me see. Nope. Where was it? It might be on the other section then. Let me just jump real quick. It perhaps might be in this hallway. We have another office. This is the voting room right here. Alright. We can go ahead and open that. So you got the voting booths with a little curtain. It's not really functional yet, but you know, it can be functional for later. You know, right here. And this is essentially the whole city hall. And now if we go to the courtroom section, this is here we're gonna have our court clerk if needed. So here's the courtroom. You have the gallery right here. You have TVs all over. If we I believe we're gonna have a functional TV added somewhere around here where my what's it called, aim thingy is, to where we can actually play video exhibits within the court. On this side is where prosecution sits, on this side is where defense sits. Here we're gonna have the witnesses sit until it's their turn to be called to the stand. You're gonna have prosecution standing right here saying, good evening, gentlemen of the jury, or in this case we don't really have jury, so it's just gonna be bench trial, so it's gonna be directed to the members of the gallery, opposing counsel, and the judge, right? They're gonna do their opening statement. Once opening statement is done, we can admit evidences as exhibits A, B, C, D, and so on. Then defense does the same thing. They do their opening statements. They also admit in their exhibits A, B, C, D. And then prosecution has to do witness testimonies to establish little by little each testimony would be linked to an exhibit. So let's say the witness says, oh, I definitely saw the guy stealing, and then you have CCTV footage exhibit A also showing him like reaching behind the counter and stealing whatever, right? Here's gonna be my chambers. I have requested for a functional printer both in the hallway for my attorneys and one in my chambers if I need to print out anything, right? I would show you the MDT, however it does contain information that may not be necessarily needed to be shown to the public. But yeah, this is gonna be our city hall, right? The DOJ is essentially all structured. Everything is completed as far as DOJ goes. We're currently interviewing for defense attorneys. We have 2 fully trained ADAs, assistant district attorneys, and bar license. They have done their bar licenses. So I'm currently just interviewing for more defense attorneys. And we currently stand at 2 defense paralegals until they're fully trained and become licensed attorneys. They can choose to become a private practitioner or public defender, right? Let's see where our applicant is. I know not many people would be interested in watching an interview be done, but either way, I assume that there would be someone who might be interested in just perhaps getting a tour or, you know, watching interviews, even if that's what you're interested in, or just for the general public to know how the DOJ is going at this time. We aim for transparency and accessibility both to our documentations, whether that being the departmental SOP and procedures, which are supposed to be internal, but also the DOJ resources that you can use in your defense if charges were to be brought against you, right? Oh. There we had my dog barking in the background. Here's the DOJ mobile right here, a little classic sports vehicle. I'm still waiting on applicant to respond, by the way. But yeah, hopefully the DOJ will be a great asset to the city. Given the severity and the necessity of it within a state, I believe it's very important to have a DOJ. There we go. Let me see what the applicant said. Alright, he's on his way. Or her, actually. She's on her way. I think that was let me just double check the name of the applicant. It's a Linda Grace. Alright. Miss Linda Grace. This guy. The applicant's brain was scuffing, but she's on her way. Huh. For fuck's sake. There we go. Oh, there you go. This is the commissioner. It's Mr. Hawksley. His actual name is supposed to be written all together. It's Hawks, L-E-Y. I don't know why he calls himself Hawksley separate. However, I think that's it. For God's sake. This little guy, why are you why are you barking? For anyone who missed it, I did a tour of the city hall, like the interior. We went to the hallway. I showed you all the voting booth. Upstairs I showed you like the offices and whatnot. This is the courtroom, just real quick. This is the courtroom. This is the gallery. On the right is going to be where prosecution sits. On the left is going to be where defense sits. Here are going to be the witnesses. We're going to have one of these TVs functional. I just add like a big TV here that would be functional to play the exhibits, the video exhibits. Here's going to be my seat right here. On my left is going to be where witnesses are going to sit and be put under oath and testify. This is going to be my chambers. And then here we have the jury room, but we're not going to be using it, to be fair. Because at least for now, we're not going to have any juries. Mostly because 70% of the cities are Leos now, and there's going to be a lot of conflict of interest. It's gonna be hard to find a jury that is not at least a little inclined to prosecution side rather than defense, you know. Here's gonna be where the defendants are gonna be held until their case is called. I actually didn't know about this until just now. I think this is just a exit door. There we go. It's a back door. Never mind. I actually just discovered this myself, by the way. And I'm gonna go ahead and quickly show you like the voting booth that we have. This guy's gonna give you your ID in case you lose it. And then later we're gonna have printed. Okay. Hello, Miss Linda.
Hello?
How you doing? Hello?
Yeah?
Do you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, let's get started with the interview then. Follow me to my chambers. I'm just gonna run because I can't walk. I don't know. Alright. So we're gonna be performing I'm not pushing. We're gonna be performing an interview. As of now, the DOJ has 2 trained ADAs. 1 second, Miss Linda. As of right now, the DOJ has 2 trained ADAs, bar licensed and trained. I have just acquired 2 defense paralegals who have not been trained because I did an interview today. This is gonna be the 3rd interview of the day. How you doing, Miss Linda?
I'm good.
Could you go ahead and state your full name for the record real quick?
Yes. It's Linda Grace.
Alright. Alrighty. And how old are you? And I'm speaking in city as in Linda.
See? 25.
Okay. Are you currently part or employed by any whitelisted factions?
No.
Not anymore?
No, not at all.
Okay. Have you ever worked in a DOJ, a legal or law enforcement department before? Whether in this
Yes.
city or just another city?
I worked law enforcement in the city, yes.
Sorry, repeat that one more time.
My cousin works for law enforcement in the city.
Okay. And excluding this city, any other?
Yes, plenty more.
Okay. Mostly Leo?
Mostly, yes. He was a judge in another server.
Alright. Alrighty. Okay. What position are you interested in within the DOJ? Defense attorney or prosecutor?
Any really, whatever I seem fit for.
Okay. Alright. Well, I'm gonna explain real quick to you the current positions within the DOJ. We currently have the Chief Justice, aka me, Álvaro Serrano. We have another Justice, Justice Stars. We both will also act as acting bench judges. As of right now, we don't need any additional judges. I think 2 would suffice for the time being. In the prosecution side, we have 2 ADAs who have passed their paralegal and bar licensed period, so they're supposedly ready to take cases as of right now. However, on defense side, we are lacking people. We currently have I interviewed 2 people today and have hired 2 people as defense paralegals. However, you can't have too many defense attorneys ever in a city, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
What qualities do you think would make a defense attorney effective?
Well, they gotta have good knowledge in the field. That's a very good key. They gotta know what they're doing. They gotta know how to speak in a certain way, like not like, you know what I mean, like
Mm-hmm. Articulate and perhaps a
yeah,
high level vocabulary.
yeah, that in that type of way.
How do you think you'd handle pressure when defending a client? Because there's a lot of scenarios where, let's say you're just doing a normal sell-side representation of a client. PD tends to be very defensive against defense attorneys, quote unquote, their enemies. At least in other cities, I don't know how the mentality is in this city. I personally think Commissioner Hawks has done a phenomenal job to make sure that, PD respects due process and the system rather than, treating defense attorneys as enemies, but you never know, right? How would you handle pressure when defending a client?
Honestly, I'm really good with under pressure, like being under pressure. I think I'll stay calm in the situation. Not like raise my voice, talking in a manner that's professional. If it gets to a point where like arguing starts to begin, I'll take a moment to let everybody catch a breath of air. I won't want to get into a full argument, as that is unprofessional.
Okay, all right.
But yes.
And how would you handle a situation where your personal beliefs conflict with defending a client?
I would ask that the client gets a new person's, as it could as myself could cause conflict of interest.
Oh, so you'd recuse yourself if you feel like you're not
If I feel like I'm going to do something that involves conflict of interest, I would remove myself.
The question is not more so oriented towards conflict of interest. It's more so that, let's say, at the end of the day, we're humans, right? We all think stuff.
Yeah.
The slight thought of your client might be guilty passes through your mind, right? And that personal thought might or might not, affect your case. How would you handle that?
Honestly, I think I would just remain in a professional setting. I wouldn't bring up like any of that type of stuff. I think I would just keep it to that specific part and nothing more.
You just keep your thoughts to yourself and try to do your job as best as possible.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Furthermore, if a client confesses to you privately but wants to plead not guilty, how would you proceed?
Well, I would look at the evidence, look at the case. If it looks like maybe they missed something, or I could possibly work through it, I would definitely do it. But if he had previously pleaded, like if he told me that he did it and he like said he was guilty, and I was gonna fight his case, I would definitely look over evidence to see maybe if they left something behind, or if they did something wrong. Maybe like the police report wasn't filed correctly, something to help.
So you still try to do your job even though they confess to you, right?
Pretty much, yes.
Perfect. That is exactly what I was looking for, because a lot of people confuse this concept, and it's important to note the gray line here. You're not defending the case, you're defending the client, you're defending the rights. Even the most notorious criminals have a right to representation, not because the representation should try and get rid of the charges, but rather ensure that if PD or the ADA pursued charges against them, they pursued it through the right channels. They pursued it through a signed arrest warrant, a signed search and seizure warrant. They didn't beat the shit out of your client or whatever like that, right? You're defending their rights, not the case.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start getting into more like philosophical / ethical questions. You're welcome to take your time and think it through. If you take time, it does not necessarily mean that you're incompetent nor competent. It's simply that, it's your thoughting process, right? Can defending a client you believe is guilty ever be morally justified? Why or why not? It's quite similar or relevant to the previous question.
Okay, can you repeat it one more time?
Can defending a client you believe is guilty ever be morally justified? Why or why not? Can defending Jeffrey Dahmer be morally justified, even though everyone knew how much of a notorious serial killer he was, or not?
Honestly, like what you said before, yes, I do think it is justified in that type of way.
Again, I'm not pushing, but
just because you said that, everybody does deserve the right to be represented during a case and not just, left because they were found guilty of something or admitted to something.
Perfect. All right. Is it ever acceptable to withhold evidence that could harm your client? Like, you find evidence that essentially supports prosecution side and you decide to hide it.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Is it ever acceptable to withhold evidence that could harm your client? Explain your reasoning. So essentially, you're investigating the case to find defense, and you find evidence that essentially supports prosecution side, and you decide to hide it.
I don't think that's legal, is it? No, I don't think you can. No, you can't.
Alright.
I don't think you can.
A client is charged with a minor offense, but the evidence is circumstantial. How would you build their defense?
So, if he's charged with a minor offense and evidence is there,
I know you may be thinking, but just so you know, if it wasn't intentional, you cut out.
Yeah, I'm trying to see these questions.
So they're charged with a minor offense, and the evidence is circumstantial.
Honestly, I don't think. Okay, so the evidence is circuit. Okay, so I'm assuming they have good evidence, and it's a minor offense.
I'm gonna repeat that one more time. Circumstantial evidence.
Circumstance. Oh my goodness. Okay.
I don't think circumstantial would equate to good evidence.
So circumstantial evidence, and it's a minor. I would go based off of the evidence. If the evidence doesn't show really much, they can't really do anything. If it's not showing, if it's not strong evidence and it's like not there, I would go off of just the evidence to help the case. Yeah, if the evidence is like if it's not there or it's not like strong, I'm gonna go off evidence.
Okay.
To help my case.
All right. Following up to that question, who has the burden of proof in a criminal trial?
What?
Following up to that question, who has the burden of proof in a criminal trial?
Oh crap. This one. I've heard about it, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I honestly don't know how to explain to her burden of proof in simple terms. I'm gonna chat GPT it.
Upset. Okay.
It wasn't even part of my interview questions.
You'd have to remind me of what that is. 'Cause I've heard of it, but I don't.
Burden of proof, in simple terms, means who has to prove something and how much they have to prove it.
Oh. Oh. Oh my. That would be prosecution.
Perfect. During a trial, the prosecution presents a witness whose credibility is shaky. How would you handle cross-examination?
Can you repeat that?
During a trial, the prosecution presents a witness whose credibility is shaky. How would you handle cross-examination? See, I feel like she's searching things up, but I mean I can't prove it, can I? Cause like me personally, when I was a Leo, I didn't have a very little legal knowledge. I could answer these easier than the ethical questions, like can something be morally correct but ethically incorrect? Like what the fuck does that even mean, right? And like she answered those with flying colors, but now she's.
I'm stumped with this question.
Okay, let me try and reword it for you. Hold on. Right. In court, the prosecution calls a witness you believe is unreliable and whose statements are inconsistent. How would you approach cross-examining them?
Okay, can you do that? Can you repeat that one more time?
Suppose the prosecution brings forward a witness you know isn't very credible. Like, let's say they're a junkie. And the junkie is like, oh yeah, he did drugs. I was there. How would you manage the cross-examination to prove the inconsistencies in their testimony with yours or the evidence that you have gathered? Or showing consistencies between the prosecution's own witness statements. I don't know how to word it out though. Like, it was pretty obvious how I had it the first time. I don't know how else to word it.
So if they brought forth, you said they brought forth like evidence that's like
Witness.
you said not.
Do you need me to speak louder? Do you not hear me?
It's hard, like the question.
Oh, okay. No, I thought it might be my voice box.
I know you're good.
So they bring a witness whose testimony and credibility is questionable. Let me try and come up with a scenario then.
So it's not credible. It's not there. Is that what you're saying? Your testimony is like off.
Yeah, it's off. It doesn't quite make sense with like the other evidences or.
So the testimonies don't match.
Yeah, the testimonies don't match.
Okay. What was the rest of the question?
How would you handle cross-examining them to prove that their testimony is unreliable?
I would look over like inconsistency. So like with their testimonies. Yeah, like with their testimonies, we can look over like how they said it, you know, what's different between them, inconsistency, as well as like
She's just repeating inconsistency.
As well as
the
like
first thing I said, as if it was an answer.
What's the word for it? Yeah. There it is. Weaknesses. Like, I can look over the the statements and stuff like that. And look for weaknesses and stuff like that to help basically help with the case. Prove that these stories they don't match up to a point. They're off.
Okay, we're gonna move on from that question. How do you decide when to advise a client to accept a plea deal versus going to trial?
One more time.
How do you decide when to advise a client to accept a plea deal versus going to trial?
Honestly, it depends on like, okay, the plea deal could be more beneficial towards the end. As like a trial, it may take time, a lot of time. As where like a plea deal, it could take less time but be more beneficial than a trial, because a trial could end it down a different path.
So, if he's innocent, because it takes less time, take the plea deal?
Okay. So, what was the question?
How do you decide when to advise a client to accept a plea deal versus going to trial?
Was he found? Is he innocent? Or like, was he? I'm assuming he was arrested on something.
Turn those questions into points, as in like a checklist. You check to decide what to advise.
Okay.
It's really not that difficult to answer, however, we'll give her time.
Okay. This question. It's confusing.
Pardon, I didn't hear you.
The question is just like, it's confusing.
Is it? O sea, ¿qué coño quiere que haga yo? O sea, ¿me está escribiendo? Bro, I don't know what to study for real tomorrow. Today in bases de bases de datos, según yo hice bien el examen, reprobé, me puso un nota 4. ¿Qué quieres que haga yo? Es que de verdad. What factors do you consider when advising a client to accept a plea deal versus proceeding to trial? How's that fucking confusing, mate? Like, be so for real right now, bruv. Hallelujah.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
What factors do you consider when advising a client to accept a plea deal? Do you know what a plea deal is? We're gonna go part by part.
Somewhat.
We're gonna go part by part. What questions do you ask yourself to determine whether you should tell your client to accept a plea deal versus going to trial?
Now I'm even more confused. See, so questions or factors I ask myself.
Listen. I'm gonna give you an example, okay? Because we're taking too long on this question. So, I have a client who was caught on 4K robbing a shop. Do I tell him we're gonna go to trial, or we're gonna tell him no? All the evidence is against you. I would recommend taking a plea deal and getting a reduced time.
Okay. So, where I can look over the statements and stuff like that.
How take a break? I have one last question for you.
Okay.
In court, the judge rules against your objection. Demonstrate how you respond professionally while preserving your client's rights.
What'd you say? You can.
In court, the judge rules against your objection. Demonstrate how you respond professionally while preserving your client's rights.
So, what do you mean rules against? So say like I made an objection.
So judges make
So,
rulings, right?
Yeah.
Sustained, overruled, correct?
Yeah.
So you object to, let's say, objection, your honor, hearsay, and I overrule. And you believe that it was indeed hearsay and I was wrong. How would you handle that?
I think I would wait. I think I would bring it up at a different time in the case when the time is when the time is there. Because like
Okay.
yeah, I think I would honestly just hold on to it and bring it up later.
All right. Quite frankly, Miss Linda, one second, let me see. Alright. What I'm gonna do is put you under a paralegal phase just like anyone else. You will go through said paralegal phase, which includes attorney classes to explain our penal codes, our sources of law, our internal and city DOJ interpretations, and furthermore explain a little bit like the most common used constitutional amendments, the case laws that we use, etc., etc. Once that is done, you'll be given a mock trial / mock scenario with imaginary defendant, imaginary charges, imaginary scenario, etc., etc., right? You have to then, in that same document that you'll be provided, give me opening statements, cross or direct examination of your witnesses, present your evidences as exhibits A, B, C, D, etc. And lastly, you would be given a bar exam, and you have to pass said bar exam to exceed the paralegal phase and become a bar licensed attorney. As a paralegal, you're not to practice law nor act within the capacity of someone who's able to practice law, which means you're not to give anyone any legal advice on anything. Your paralegal phase is mostly consisting of attending trials and shadowing licensed attorneys. In this case, because we don't have any, you will be shadowing me. I'll try and teach you whatever I can, and the bar license will ensure that you're evaluated adequately. Yeah, so as a paralegal, you're to just research, maybe draft paperwork, stuff like that, but you're not to act in the capacity of someone who would practice law.
Okay.
And then once you're bar licensed or not, I mean, you will know by the end, right? I will provide you with an invite to the DOJ, or are you already there? Let me see.
No, I shouldn't be.
Go ahead and check your emails. I have given you the roles, so with that role, you can see the DOJ internal operations category. Hold on. Which consists of the general chat, where you can just chat with your fellow attorneys, case assignments.
Okay.
There's the training and resources, where there's the training handbook that you can have a read over. The DOJ questions and clarifications, that's where you would ask your questions regarding any case laws, any legal questions that you may have. And judge chambers is mostly kept for communications in regards to a certain case that I'm presiding, essentially. And if you go to the very top, you'll see the resource compendium, which is essentially a general portal to all our DOJ docs, right? There you can find all the documents that we have, and you can also have a read over them. Any questions for me?
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
No.
All right. All good, and hold on.
Yep, I got that.
Alrighty. I think you should be able to open the door on your own now. I will speak to you later on the weekend when there's gonna be a class. If that comes to it, then I'll host a class and we can explain things there. All right.
Okay.
Just had to read over the docs that I mentioned to you. In the meanwhile, and yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right.